Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Maverick Mindset Radio Show. I'm Adam Williams.
And I'm Ashley Muckenhop.
And this is the radio show for the dreamers and doers. It's for those who are willing to step into the arena.
Some call us the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers.
We don't accept the status quo. We leave the world better than we find it.
We approach each day with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. We maintain a rational optimism about the future.
And this is the Maverick Mindset Radio Show, brought to you by me, Adam Williams. I need today's show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel a lot of people probably need today's show.
This is one that I'm going to go back and listen to.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna sit down with my Maverick Mindset notebook and review my notes on this one, because this comes up a lot. What is today's topic? What are we talking about?
Today is getting out of a rut.
Rut-row.
Turn off the Mariah Carey and turn on Adam and Ashley.
Which we need to explain that.
Yes.
And we will explain it.
Yeah.
I think part one of the explanation is we found some of our topics and titles were just boring, so we spiced it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But we'll tell the story of where that came from. But before we do that,
tell everyone where they can find us.
all right, Facebook, Maverick Mindset Radio. I'm working on the iTunes thing. I still haven't done it. I got to get there, and I got.
Like
Angie.
I'm ready for a new thing.
Yeah, I'm ready to spice up the beginning a little bit.
Yeah.
But we do have Angie, our marketing assistant, working on some website revamp stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But Facebook, Maverick Mindset Radio, streaming live on YouTube. We've got all of our episodes up on Spotify now, which has been really great. I like the data that Spotify podcasts can give us. So go subscribe on Spotify and help us break that algorithm. And then, of course, MaverickMindsetRadio.com. Use code Maverick10 for 10% off your merch, your stickers, your coffee cups,
Did you
and your
replace your
notebooks.
coffee cup yet?
No. Can somebody order a coffee cup and just have it shipped to the office? I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
I've been in a rut.
I've been in a rut. I can't order my own coffee cup.
There was a Ted Lasso, a segment of a Ted Lasso episode about this where there's a word that you say it so much it starts to sound weird. And that's where I've been with rut.
Rut.
Just
Yeah.
sounds weird. There's a phrase for that. Somebody needs to look it up. But there was a Ted Lasso episode on that. Remember? You wouldn't. No, nobody's getting my Ted Lasso references recently, and that's been.
You know what? It's
discouraging.
been a year ago since.
Yeah.
So, I feel like that's something you got to keep rewatching.
When are we doing the episode on TV shows and movies that you need to watch? That's in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yep.
Look at us planning ahead.
Yeah. We're planned ahead for. I think that might be next week.
Spoiler alert. Ted Lasso is gonna be on the list.
So if you haven't watched it yet, you should watch it before we.
Is there enough time? Yeah, you could
Yeah.
take the next week off. Go watch Ted Lasso.
Remember when I was sick and you're like, the only requirement is that you watch Ted Lasso today.
That one time you were sick?
No.
That's an inside joke. You have more illnesses than anybody in the. I'm gonna get sued now because of that.
I can't help it.
Yeah, you got kids and stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Quote of the day.
Quote of the day.
Is it me?
I think it's you. Yeah.
Why do I always read the quote?
I've been reading the quote the last 2 weeks.
Right, you pick the quote. You should be reading it.
All right, I'll read it, and then
we're off to a rough start today.
it's been a morning. Okay, so this week's quote is, again, we picked the quotes to kind of introduce the show. So this one was about being in a rut, and it is, when you are in a rut, you have to question everything except your ability to get out of it. And you like this one.
Yeah,
You're
that's
like,
right. You
good.
gave me some options.
Yeah.
And I picked this one.
Yes.
And that's it. Today we're gonna share. I wish that I had got my thoughts a little more organized before the show, because I would say, we're gonna give you 10 tips for getting out of a rut. It could be 7. It could be 42. I have a long list, and it's gonna depend on how quickly we get through this stuff. But my idea here is, first of all, I want to talk about what it means, first of all, but then second of all, we want to give some tips and strategies and actions that you can take. And the idea is we're just going to dump a lot of them out there. We're going to put it all out on the table and take your notes and write them down. And, when you recognize that you're in that moment, let's go, this is the toolkit. Let's go back and see what you can do to get yourself out of it. Because some of this stuff will resonate with people. Certain items will resonate with people, and other things will go, that's not me, right? I really want to put meditation on the list, but meditation is not
for everybody.
I was listening to a podcast this morning, and the whole idea is it's this, she's a Gen Z girl. That might even be the name of the podcast. And she was like, yeah, I've never meditated. And I'm like, wow, I didn't even realize that was possible for somebody who's like, you know, mid-20s.
Meditation is hard for people because you got to really try and block out everything else and sit still.
We'll do meditation. If there are any meditation experts out there that could come in and talk to us about this,
I know
really
one.
helpful. Really?
We should do that. Yes.
You look excited.
Yeah, because
your whole vibe just changed. This is going to be awesome.
That would be great.
All
yeah.
right, so let's get into it because you picked this topic.
Yes.
You'll notice a trend occurring on this radio show where I'm doing less and less and less, other than just showing up 2 minutes beforehand and knocking it out of the park.
Making me really nervous.
You got the run of show. You're picking the topics.
Yeah.
And I just come in with my notes all over the place.
Yeah. I pick the topics and you give the information about it.
You just bring me all your problems.
Yes. Oh, it's kind of like my therapist.
Yeah. This is great. This is really great. I'm not licensed, so let's get that out of the way. Okay. So tell me about this topic, getting out of a rut.
Yeah.
Why did you select this?
Well, I thought it was important because I feel like, it's hard to recognize when you're in it until you're to the point of misery.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. That's a good one.
And then B, it's like people don't know how to get out of it. You can say stuck in it. And you were telling me that being in a rut is different than being stuck.
Mm-hmm. Unless you're in my yard in my truck, which twice a year I am in a rut, completely stuck, and I got to call the really expensive tow truck out because I got a big truck.
Yeah. And I think it requires change that you don't want to make. So then you just become comfortable in it. And I think that goes back to the quote is that you have to question everything around you except your ability to get out of it, because you can get out of it, but it requires you almost a change of your mindset, your actions and everything to get out of that. And that's where I think people get stuck. They don't want to do that.
Okay.
So yeah, I think everybody finds themselves in a rut at one point or another. So
let's define that term, because I'm going to give you my example, and if it doesn't paint the picture clearly enough, or you were thinking something else, let's hear it. But like you're like you wake up and it's like you're digging deep in your closet because you're like behind on your laundry. Right, you got to wear I wear the same 7 things every week, it seems like. But I'm like, when you're deep into it, like you're behind on the laundry, and your car is out of gas, and you catch your pocket or belt loop on the doorknob. That only happens when you're in a bad mood.
That has happened.
You've got your boss, or you've got a client who wants to schedule the one-on-one meeting, so you're really nervous, and you already know what they're gonna say. Like, you know you're underperforming. You aren't hitting your numbers. Your attitude sucks. So it's like you're going into this meeting just knowing what's gonna happen, and you still have to sit and listen through it anyway. And you get through this meeting, and then you go and make the cup of coffee, and you just like plop down in your chair and just like.
Yep. And it's that scenario. Is it scenario or scenario?
Depends on whether you're listening to the song or not.
So it's that day after day. It's almost like you relive that same.
Okay.
That's what I feel like.
So I think that's an important distinction, is like having a hiccup, having an off day, having a speed bump is not the same as really just being in a row. Okay.
Yes.
So when it goes on for too many days in a row where it's the same thing. Okay, good. I'm glad that we're on the same page with the problem, because now we can solve it. Okay.
I really just felt like I was in therapy.
Yeah, I was. Whatever. Here's the first thing. And you nailed it, of like, people don't know. It's hard to recognize when they don't know, right?
Because you get in that routine.
Yep. There's a difference between being stuck, having a bad day, being in a rut, being just outright depressed, or like farther down the spectrum of like really bad stuff going on. But this is the blah. This is the gray, the middle of winter.
Yeah, this is February and March.
Yeah, you like every day you get in your car and like it gives you the warning that you need the oil change. You're like, I know. Okay.
Yep.
All right, so we got it.
Does everybody have the feeling? Right
Yeah.
now?
So here's the first thing, and I think when you feel like, I literally have a physical reaction in my stomach right now, just even describing this problem. That means it worked. I think the first thing is really identifying the problem and knowing what you're feeling, right? I think taking that moment when you sit in the car or you plop down in your chair in the office and just like allow yourself to feel it.
Yeah.
I think it's important to take that moment.
Yeah.
Because I think too many other people jump into action, or they try and do something or try and get out. But I really think it's actually like mindfulness. Like, just sit there and be in it for a minute so that you're really clear on what you're actually feeling. Because the way to get out of it is going to change depending on what the feeling actually is.
Yes.
Right. So I'll tell you, I'm going to go out of order on my notes here, but I'll tell you one of the things that happens to me a lot is I find I'm pretty in tune with my personal core values, right? Are you?
I think so.
What are your personal core values?
Oh gosh. Being honest.
Okay, that's boring, but okay.
Well, to myself.
It's okay. All right. All right. So truth. Yep.
Being
Okay.
honest with myself. How do I word this? Because you call me on it a lot. Is when I saying no, like, or not saying no, but say like.
I'm going to give you some time to think about this.
No, it's the not saying no, but standing up for myself, being
assertive.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it. That's that word that I think is one of my core values.
Yeah.
Okay, here's where I'm at with mine, right? I find that I need, like, the things I value are leadership, making a difference, fun, freedom, and adventure. Like, those are my top 5.
All right.
And I find if I'm in a rut, I'm probably missing one of those things. So if I am doing that same thing over and over and over, and I've got to show up to the office every single day, and my calendar is jam-packed with appointments, I don't have freedom. I'm not having fun. I can't be impulsive. I can't have adventure. I may actually be leading. I may actually be making a difference, but I find that I'm missing some of those other things, right? So for me, it's important to understand that I need that. I need the ability to say, like, driving down the highway and I'm getting off this exit and I'm taking the back roads.
Yeah.
Right. And that is both literal and figurative. Right. So I think that's really important to understand. Like, what are you missing? And if you take the moment to really think about it, for me, a lot of times I sit there and go, I am really missing adventure. So I make sure in my life to plan that out.
Yeah.
So, like, next weekend, Jackie and I are going to Boston to see the Foo Fighters at Fenway.
Yeah.
Right. I will work my tail off for the next, now, week and a half, but it started with 2 days or 2 weeks. I will work my tail off for the next week and a half and not even question it, because I know that light is at the end of the tunnel. Like, it's me and her, and we actually went on our honeymoon in Boston, so it's going to be adorable. But like, flying out there, gonna have a great time, gonna see a band that it's been on our bucket list to go and see. And then a few weeks after that, we go to Bora Bora, which is the trip that we said we would take in 2020. Like, this is like bucket list of bucket list trips in the overwater bunk. This trip is going to be insane. Not to set the expectations too high. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to come back from Boston, and whatever it is, let's call it 3 weeks. Watch out. Like, I am going to be on fire for that 3 weeks, because I know that I've got fun and freedom and adventure coming right up after that.
Yes.
So it is going to be a dangerous few weeks to be around me, because I'm going to be pushing super hard on things. But that's the important thing. I know my core values.
Yeah.
I know what is important to me. I know what I need, and now I can create a life to provide more of that. Look out. Now, on the other hand, there's some people that don't want any adventure whatsoever in their lives. They want the routine. They want the security, if you can call it that, the consistency. That's great too, right? They may find that the anxiety of working for someone like me when I come in on Tuesday and say we're changing directions drives them nuts, and that's okay. But for me, I need that. And so
I guess it's write down what your core values are to understand what it is that you want.
It's a great exercise to go through. Nobody does it.
Because I'm like, okay, those are my things of myself, but I guess in life in general, what are mine?
Yeah, and we talk about this in the business too, right? Like the things in our business, Now, you'll note our business core values of figure it out and find the truth and be curious and not judgmental and take your job seriously, but don't take yourself too seriously. Like, those are also values that Jackie and I hold personally. But there's a slight difference between the business core values and the personal core values. Jackie values excellence, truth. So you guys share that.
Yep.
Faith, impact, and joy.
Yes.
So you should have seen her when we went camping this weekend. The amount of time she spent looking at and gawking over and taking pictures of a rainbow.
Aw.
Right? I can look at a rainbow and go, cool. And this was a big one, right? Like this was almost like the complete rainbow.
But I know what she's seeing. She's seeing it's the faith part of it. It's the beauty part. It gives her joy. I know she's seeing those things within that rainbow, and that's why it has a different impact on her.
And because she knows her values and because she knows those things are important to her, she can sit and just savor that moment. And like, I thought have you seen the double rainbow video on the internet?
No.
There's this guy, I don't know the guy, I don't know the story, I don't know anything about it, but he sounds like kind of a stoner. He's like, oh, double rainbow, oh my God. Like, Jackie was laughing because she sounded like that guy, because it was a really big rainbow and it covered the whole sky. Anyway, so I think that's what I find a lot of times is when I get in that rut, something's missing, and it's usually something that I value. Yeah. Okay, I went 2 layers deep. Let me back it out for a second here. You talk about therapy session.
Yes.
If you're in that rut, if you've got that feeling of just like blah and meh, and these are all portmanteaus. It's a great word, by the way. That's your today's vocabulary word of the day on Maverick Mindset Radio. Portmanteau.
Portmanteau.
No, Portmanteau.
Portmanteau.
If I spelled that right, somebody.
It sounds like portmanteau.
No, portmanteau. It's a word that sounds whatever.
Sounds like portmanteau.
That's okay. That would be your tattoo. All right, so let's back up a second. When you find yourself in the rut, when you acknowledge this feeling, when you allow yourself to feel it, let's go to like the fundamentals and check the following 4 things: sleep, diet, exercise, and recreation.
Yeah.
We don't need to get crazy with this stuff. We don't need to dive deep into these tips.
It's just those simple things.
If you're not getting a lot of sleep, if your diet is garbage, if you're not getting any exercise, and you don't have time for recreation, you are going to be a miserable, unhappy, stressed out, anxiety-filled person. Yeah. So start there.
Yeah.
I'm amazed. So I'm back on 75 hard.
Yes.
I'm doing phase 2 right now. Today's day 3. So I'm about to go another 30 days without alcohol. It is amazing what a day with 3 beers will do to me. Like, I track it on my Oura Ring. I track it on the health app, and like, my heart rate's screwed up. My anxiety levels are all thrown off just by a couple of drinks. And there's like some science to back this up.
Right.
So it's another reason that 75 hard has been great.
It's a reset.
It is a great reset, but it also gets some toxins out. Like, I'm drinking a gallon of water every day. I'm going hard on the diet this time and the exercise, and going without the alcohol. And like, it's amazing what a change. Like, I'm 3 days in, I'm already a happier person.
But that brings me to my point. You had to make a change, right?
Oh yeah.
You had to.
Yep.
So there's an action, right?
Yep.
All right. I feel like there's always an action too.
Well, that's it. Okay. So, oh man, here we go.
Yep.
Here we go. Maverick Mindset Radio. Going live every Wednesday at 9. No, blowing your minds every minute. Oh my God, I ruined it.
You got it.
Blowing your minds every Wednesday at 9. Going live at 9:05.
Yes.
Maybe that's why I'm almost late to every show. Is I get the
you have it wrong.
I just have it wrong. Here's the thing that's driving me crazy on this is so many people are so like this freaking victim culture of I'm so exhausted and life is so hard and things are so difficult and I just need some self-care. No, you don't. No, you don't.
That's what you're telling yourself.
That's it.
Yeah.
And all your loser friends are encouraging it.
Yeah.
There's you sweetheart, things are really difficult right now. Your car does need an oil change. Yeah. It's so difficult for you. Get away from those people.
Yeah.
Get away from those people. Like, that is not what you need in that moment.
No.
You don't need, I'm telling you right now, you don't need a massage and a pedicure.
No. That's
not going to get you out of the rut. It's going to let you sit and ruminate longer in it. In fact, chances are you're going to go and get the massage and you're going to fall asleep on the table because it's really that you're not getting enough rest or exercise or your diet is crap. Like, it's not this victim culture. It's not, I'm so exhausted and things are so difficult. I promise you it isn't.
Yep.
I promise you if this hits on a Saturday and you say, I'm just going to sit and watch movies all day, you're going to wake up on Sunday in the exact same mood. I guarantee it. What this requires is action. What is required to get out of a rut is execution. And I'm not talking massive action. I'm not talking huge execution. It can be something small and little. So let's get into these some
we're not talking pack up your house and move to another country.
No, you don't need to blow up your whole life. No. Sometimes you do. Yeah. But it's really not that. It's really a smaller thing than that. Yep. Again, sleep, diet, exercise, recreation, but let's get into the most obvious one for me. It's exercise. Mm-hmm. Tony Robbins says, change your physiology. I'm not saying you need to go and do the heaviest lift of your life, or you don't need to go and plank for 45 minutes, or you don't need to. There's these things on Peloton called boot camp. So you can do a bike. So we have the bike, the tread, and the rower, and you can do a boot camp on one of those. Oh, so nice. You go from like the bike to down on the floor lifting weights, or you go from the rower to down on the floor. Like,
it's like a circuit of.
It's the seventh circle of hell. If that's what a circuit is, they're brutal. You don't need to do that. Set a timer for 10 minutes and just go for a walk.
Right.
Or go around the block. I do this where I put my headphones in. I got the AirPods so I can go transparency mode. Mm-hmm. And I walk, not in noise cancellation, in transparency. I can still hear birds and cars and whatever. Strange things rustling in the bushes. That always scares the crap out of me. And I just go for a walk. I don't even listen to anything. And then usually what happens is about 10 minutes in, it's like, maybe I'll listen to a podcast. Mm-hmm. And then I get into a podcast and 10 or 15 minutes into that, I say, I'm ready for some music. And then by the time I get around the block and we live out in the country, I get back to my driveway, I'm like sprinting up the driveway, like getting up this hill. So something as simple as that. You may be so deep in this rut that you don't have the ability to go out and absolutely crush it.
Right.
But you can do one simple thing. Just go for a walk.
Yep. Start
there. If that's all you're capable of, fine.
Right.
But do that. Because even sitting and watching Ted Lasso isn't going to get you out of this rut. It requires action. That's like saying that, watching The Biggest Loser or reading a diet book is going to help you get in better shape. It's not.
No.
It's not.
No.
Okay.
How are we doing? Because good. I think that that's the part that gets missed the most. What you said about the watching movies, whatever. Somebody's like, I just need rest, so I'm just going to take I'm just going to watch all day of movies. Yep. And then they expect to feel different. Yes, rest is good.
That's been driving me crazy.
Yes, you may need that, but that isn't going to change the rut that you're in.
I love watching people on social media who are like, oh my God, I needed this break. I needed this relaxation. Yeah. No, you didn't. I've seen how hard you've been working. You didn't need this.
Yeah.
You didn't need this. Yeah. I guarantee it's not going to help.
And the walk, you can't just do that one day. It's about, I think, taking an action that creates a change that disrupts your routine, right? That's something I feel like add that in to your day every day. Do something.
You know what? But you're asking a lot. That may be too much to ask. Get up right now and go for 15 minutes and go for a walk right now. Go do 10 push-ups. Can you do 10 push-ups?
I can do 10 push-ups.
How many push-ups can you do?
Like girl push-ups?
Like with your toes or your knees on the floor?
Knees.
Yeah. All right. So girl, that's really offensive, but how many?
Well, that's what they are. That's what they call them at the gym.
That's not what I call them. That's just how I do push-ups.
Now I see why you got defensive.
They're adapted, right? So how many push-ups can you do?
Of those, I can do a lot. I could probably do 25 of those.
Is that a lot?
For me, it's a lot.
Why not? You said a lot, but for some people, they're like 25. That's it.
I know, but for me,
you think you could do 25 adapted girl push-ups?
Yes.
All right.
I do.
Okay. You could probably beat me in a push-up contest, but I'm working on it. We'll get there. Okay. So, but I think that's it. I'm not telling you to go sign up for the gym and commit to going every day and work out.
Right.
Do 2 days.
And that's what people do.
I'm just saying go right now and just go.
Right.
Just move.
But that's what people do, right? They do an extreme. So I got to start exercising. I'm going to go buy the gym membership, and I'm going to go immediately change my diet, and I'm going to set these great expectations, and then we talked about this before. I don't know if it was in habits or what it was, and then you fail a week into it because you went too big, you went too extreme, you tried to change all the things, when like what you're saying is it's just a simple, just go for a walk,
pick one
something.
thing and focus on just that.
Yes.
Yeah. And we can talk about overwhelm too, and like trying to do too many things, but that I just pick one thing and focus on that. Okay. So I think changing your physiology, doing something like I'm back to using the power list. I came back this week after my nice relaxing weekend for 4th of July. I'm back to doing the power list, and like I'm ready to rock and roll right now. Like the third quarter just started. The business is doing really, really well. I'm really fired up. We got a lot of cool stuff going on. Also, I'm going to see the Foo Fighters and going to Bora Bora. Pretty stoked about that. So I came in Monday with the power list, and I only picked 3 things, right? Didn't need to be 5. Shouldn't be more than 5.
Right.
So I picked 3 things that I said these are the things I'm going to get done before I leave the office today. Typical power list thing, right? Or I guess I could say before I fall asleep, but for me it was before I leave the office. And I had a ton of meetings and a ton of stuff going on. I had my list done by 10 a.m.
Nice. And
I carry it around on my my index card. Where's my index card?
Nice.
and then I cross it off, and it feels great. So I think if you took the step of physically writing down on a piece of paper, on a notebook, on a napkin, on your wall, like the thing that you're going to do, and just go and do it. Because again, I'm not telling you to go climb Mount Everest. Like that's not what you need. I'm not telling you to go bike 50 miles. You may need that.
Yeah.
Like that, you could be that type of person. I had a boss that used to be like that. Like, I'm going to go ride my bike to Ohio and back. It may not be that much. It could be, but don't beat yourself up for going too small with the action. But I guarantee even the slightest action and getting the thing done and crossing the item off your list will be better than sitting and wallowing.
Do you think that people... You think the reason for sometimes the rut too is a lack of inspiration, and that's what like you're missing? I mean, you need like...
Sometimes I feel like we've actually rehearsed these shows, because that is a great segue into the next thing I want to talk about.
Perfect. You're welcome.
All right, so we're starting small. Take some action, right?
Yeah.
But let's zoom out a little bit too. Let's get back to your vision and goals, right? Like let's get back to the big picture stuff and think about whether it's inspiring or motivating, right?
Right.
And if it inspires you, great. That will probably right then in that moment help get you out of the rut. Like you're going to see the vision again and you're going to go, yep, let's go.
Yes.
The other thing that may happen though is it may get really discouraging. So like our goal, we announced the goal yesterday to the team. Our big goal, our BHAG,
yes,
our Jim Collins BHAG, which we talked about him on the summer reading list. We want to help our clients save $100 million in taxes.
Yeah.
And when I told you that number, the first thing you said, is that even possible?
Yeah.
Can you do that?
How do we?
Which I told you to update your resume after you asked me that question.
It's a big number.
It can be. And when you look at like the plan that we put out yesterday, and we're saving this first client $70,000 on their taxes, it's like, what fraction of a percentage of our total goal is that, right? So it can get really discouraging, but sometimes it'll motivate you, right? So the $100 million number, like that may be enough. Like, no, I got to go and do this.
Yeah.
And for me, what I didn't get into yesterday on why that number is important. Do you know the budget of the city of Erie, Pennsylvania?
No.
It's $105 million. So we are going to help business owners save the same amount of money that the city of Erie collects in a year, and we're going to put it back in the hands of business owners and entrepreneurs. And obviously we've got clients all over the country, right? So we're going to take essentially the budget of the city of Erie, Pennsylvania, and put it back in the hands of people that we believe can spend it better. I'm ready to shut off the radio show right now and get back to work on this, right? Like, let's go.
Yes.
Now, it can also be really discouraging. So but it can go either way. So if it's going to motivate you and inspire you, this is a good reason. This is one of the ways that you can use a vision board. It's not the only way.
Right.
Unfortunately, too many people think it is. Like, yeah, we've talked about this. I'll put the poster of the Porsche on my wall, and that'll be enough to get me. No, that's not how it works. But if you did your goal setting properly and you've constructed your vision and goals properly, they were emotional when you created them.
Yes.
And if you do any visualization, you continue to have that emotional attachment. So that could be it. Or you've got to get back to the process. So it's not the goals, it's not the outcome, it's the steps I have to take to get there. That's where you're going to get back to. So I know, like, it's taking small steps, it's taking little bites. If you've got kids and you've watched Frozen 2, do the next right thing. That's my favorite. That might be my favorite Disney song.
Yeah.
And I can sing every song word for word from Aladdin, but Do the Next Right Thing from Frozen 2 might be my favorite Disney song. For exactly that reason, is it's not about seeing the whole path. It's not about seeing the whole journey. It's just being stuck in that moment in the dark and it's cold and you're scared and just do the next right thing.
Yeah.
And so exercise is one of those things, but getting deeper, getting back to the vision and goals of like, if I'm in a rut and I've got a goal to help business owners save $100 million on their taxes, what's the next thing I can do to move me closer to that? I mean, there's a million options, right? But I'm gonna find one of those things and I'm gonna go do it, and I'm gonna feel myself taking a step closer to the future that I want. So I think that's a big
I think it's figuring out the future that you want and what do you need to do to get there. And I think we all know the things that we want, and I think it's when you know that you're not doing the things to get there that you end up in that rut, right?
Well, it could be either. Sometimes people can't set goals. Sometimes I lack vision. That's where coaches can come in. And I have clients that I work with on the coaching side that it's like, it seems so clear and obvious after we talk for a little bit of like, oh yeah, that is actually what I want. Or I didn't even, or going, this is actually another tip is like changing your environment a little bit. Yes. So it could be going somewhere inspiring. That could be big, right? Yeah. But I mean, I just went through that going to the First Form headquarters. Like, holy moly, I see what a business with a few hundred employees who are dedicated and passionate can look like. I want this. Or it could be, I just did this in my office downtown. I took all of the art off the wall and I shuffled it all around and hung it back up.
Yeah,
feels great.
Yeah.
Even Jackie walked in the other day. She's like, "Oh, it feels different in here." And all I did was move the artwork around, right? So that little like rearranging. So again, we're not talking about blowing up your entire life.
No.
Don't knock the wall down and expand the space. But
no, well, like even for me, I work from home majority of the time, but there are times that gets like monotonous for me, and I'm like, I need that office feeling. I need the people in there. Mm-hmm. So those are days I'm like, I'm gonna go in, and because it's just that change of environment that re-inspires you to get back into this. So it's kind of like, I think, just like you said, a little change in your environment. You don't have to do something huge or.
That's what Jackie and I did last week with our quarterly planning and the longer term stuff, but really the quarterly planning was the end result of it. Is we spent those 2 days working from home. Yeah. And we sat outside, out by the pool. The one day was a little chilly, so we had like a bonfire going all day. It was awesome. And like our home is a very inspiring place. Yes. And I mean, it's nicer than the office, but that's how up-leveling goes, I guess. There was a time when the office was nicer than our home. We were talking about it this last weekend. Jackie and I were like, do you remember when the the kitchen in our RV was nicer than the kitchen in our house? And I do. I remember I got in this RV and I went, this is nicer than the kitchen in our house. And that was 2020. That was July of 2020 when we first bought the RV. And now we kind of joke because we're like, man, we got like the dream kitchen now.
Right.
Like, yeah. So I think changing your environment, rearranging your space, finding something inspiring is really important. The other thing I would do, and this kind of goes along with environment, is get away from the pessimists, get away from the negative people, get away from the naysayers. Oh, there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than being in a rut and saying, I'm gonna go run 10 miles if that's what you're gonna do. And you're gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah. Why would you do that?
It's so hot outside, and the president and my boss and the mayor and the economy and get away from those people.
Yeah.
The last thing you need is to be deeper in victim culture in moments like that. So get away from it. And you know who those people are. You that person that you're picturing right now, I'm not saying to completely abandon them, but I am telling you to limit your
Don't go to them with your hopes and dreams.
No, it's the worst. It's the worst. And I know I still do this to myself where I lay out the thing that makes me want to run through a wall and inspires and motivates other people. And I still know that there's the people that I take it to. And it's like, they just walk around with a pin waiting to pop my balloon.
Yeah.
They're the worst.
Yep.
They're the worst.
So sometimes you have to, again, it requires change and action, and you have to change your company. who you hang out with.
Totally.
Because aren't you? Isn't it? You are who you hang out with. Isn't that a saying, right?
Yeah, you're the average of the 5 people you spend most time with.
So.
I feel like I'm bringing up your average.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Completely.
Yeah.
Well, because most of the time I'm with my children, so.
Yeah. Well, they're great. All right, another action item, another way to get out of a rut. I think spending some time reflecting on how far you've come. Now, of course, this requires that you've actually accomplished something.
Yeah, that you've changed.
Yeah, but this was us over the weekend when we were sitting in our RV. Going, remember when?
Yeah.
Remember where we were? Because you lose track, and I think acknowledging how far you've come. I mean, even at the book signing that I was the book signing event this weekend at Warner Books, like the local author event, there were 46 authors there, which I didn't even know there were that many.
That was a good event.
And there was more than one Amazon bestseller there. So
really,
I mean, there's like a club forming in Erie. I think actually one of the really cool things about
Erie
that
book club
is
author club.
Yeah, best-selling author club. One of the really cool things was there were 2 people there that I knew who had written books. And the 3 of us met in a business book club at Warner Books, like, I don't know, 10 plus years ago. So it was really funny that like the place where we met doing the business book club, we're now there as authors. And, you know, I've obviously got like a business and mindset book. And then the other guy has like a bookkeeping and accounting book. And then the woman, Heather, has like coloring books. She's an artist, coloring books and children's books and things like that. So that was pretty cool. That was a fun little moment.
I remember 5 years ago working at a daycare, and I could wear my t-shirts and my leggings, and I was wiping butts all day, right? Can I say that? Okay.
You just did.
So sorry. And I remember feeling like this is my life. Like I felt like that in a rut. Not that anything is wrong with working in daycare, because you're taking care of somebody's children. So
it's not
don't
for
get me wrong.
everybody,
It's not right. I had bigger hopes and dreams for myself. I had gone to school. There were things I wanted to do with my life, and I was thinking, this is where I'm at right now. And I was doing it every day. It was just every day. It was monotonous. That's what I was saying. It was the same, and it felt bad. So I felt bad, and I was just thinking, and it was over the weekend in my hammock that I.
Because you needed some relaxation.
Yeah.
All that hard work.
But I was sitting there, and I'm like, I was looking at the house that I own, and I was thinking about the job that I have that is very important. I have an important job. I have like a big girl job. Do you know what I mean? Like somebody had just said prior to that, I hate Mondays. I hate going, and I turned to them and I said, I don't hate Mondays. I actually enjoy Mondays. I actually get insight from it. They're like, why? I'm like, because I love my job. And they looked at me like I was crazy. So I was thinking about that. And then I was looking, and I could see my amazing Jeep that was sitting there. And I was like, 5 years ago, I was driving a brown minivan. Ew. So I was like, if you drive a brown minivan.
Listen,
but what I was saying,
working in a daycare isn't for everybody. There are some people for whom that's great. Brown minivans are for no one.
For no one.
Eradicate them. Yeah. Get them off of this planet. Yeah.
Right. But I was like, that was 5 years ago.
Only
5 years. Only 5 years ago. And I was like, I've gone to Orlando and took Bella with you guys, and I've got to like do these amazing trainings, like the one I just did with David Nagel.
We got to talk about trainings, because we were going to talk about Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
All right. I'm making a
so
note.
what I'm saying is that was only 5 years, and but I had to change, right? I had to change. I had to take the step and change what my job was going to be. I had to change what I was doing and set goals in order to have the car.
Things. You changed your actions.
Yes.
You changed your day-to-day, but you also changed your identity.
Yes.
You are no
completely.
longer the leggings and t-shirt wearing butt wiper.
That is not me anymore.
Although since I did ask you to update your resume after you doubted me 2 days ago, that's probably the job title you should put on for that period of time in your life. Okay, so I was talking about the book signing. I was sitting next to an author who is a survivor of domestic violence and works with other survivors of domestic violence. And I was thinking about, like, I've never been a victim of that. I've never really been exposed to it, but I can't imagine what it's like. But she was telling a lot of stories of how far these women in particular had come from those low moments in their lives. And then I really started thinking, how do you amplify that? So now we're going to like try and do an event where we teach these women can like imagine being the survivor of domestic violence and then becoming financially independent because you own a successful business.
Yeah.
Right. And you can do that through Mary Kay or whatever.
How powerful you'd feel.
Yeah, exactly. So I got really excited about helping with that. So that's a really good example of like just documenting how far you've come. You can also look at how far you have to go and be discouraged by that, but I think showing how far you've come. Okay. Yeah. Second thing on that, I just shared this on my Instagram story this morning. Alex Hormozy, who we talk about a lot on the show, he said, to losers, their hardship is their reality. To winners, their hardship is their origin story. And I feel like you just told
my origin.
You just told your origin.
Yeah.
Or maybe your transition story. So that was really good.
Yeah.
Okay. Next thing, I took so many notes on what you just said. Next thing is you were talking about your friends who hate Mondays.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes,
I have a friend, her name is Elaretha Coleman, and she runs a really successful law firm down in Atlanta. And she used to share this thing on social media that was like, do sharks complain about Monday? No. They're up, like, chasing things, biting things, like reminding everybody that they're a freaking shark, right? Yeah. So every Monday was like shark. I would just text her like the shark emoji,
right?
Stuff like that. So Penny has those bento boxes. They're like lunch boxes with dividers, right? Yep. But of course you gotta innovate.
Yes.
Well, she got one that's shaped like a shark.
Nice.
She took one today. I think it was shaped like a strawberry or something, but she's got one that's shaped like a shark. And she told me when she got it that she wanted me to use it on Mondays because that was Shark Day. And then today she's getting ready for summer camp. And I told Jackie, I'm like, more than anything right now, I want to be packing a peanut butter and jelly sandwich into a lunchbox going to summer camp. Like, doesn't that just sound awesome?
So much
and
fun.
she goes, well, we're providing that for our kids, so that's pretty great. I'm like, yeah, it's great, but like, wouldn't you rather be packing?
Go back in time.
And then Penny goes, Dad, you can just use your Monday shark bento box.
Like, pack a peanut butter sandwich.
Yeah, so I'm teaching my kids to show up like a shark on Monday. Last piece on that, I think that's really important, is when you're acknowledging how far you've come, it's kind of couched in this, but it isn't abundantly clear. Like, that's gratitude. Mm-hmm. And we've talked on a lot of episodes about expressing gratitude, not just feeling it, but saying it out loud. So having that conversation with Jackie about our kitchen and our RV and how far that's come, or how grateful we are to live in the home that we live in.
Yeah.
Like, really saying that stuff out loud not only shows the progress that you've made, which is an important part, but also the gratitude piece of it. Okay, let's talk about Mariah Carey.
Yes.
Because you were in a rut. Your conversions have been crap.
Thank you.
I'm here to share the truth with you. And
you're not the friend that's going to keep me in victim mode.
Absolutely not. And especially because if you don't sell things, then it makes my life worse.
Yes.
So I have gone so far to provide you with training when it comes to sales. And we've got some sales training videos and recordings that you could spend, they say 10 minutes a day. They're usually a little bit longer than that. But if you spent your 10 minutes a day listening to this stuff, you would get better. So when your conversions were crap, I said, well, we went through a handful of things. Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Are you listening to the trainings? He said, well, I could spend more time on that, which means no, you haven't been listening to those. And I don't remember how it came up, but I think you were driving somewhere. And well, you drive a lot, right? Like you got to take kids around and you got other things going on. And I said, well, can't you just listen to it? Listen to the trainings while you're driving.
Because I was giving you excuses of why I couldn't. Because, my day, now I'm taking more calls.
You're so busy.
So I was providing you with my reasons and excuses.
That's right. You were giving me excuses.
And you said, well, what about in the car? Can't you listen to it? What are you listening to in the car?
Yeah. So I said, shut off Mariah Carey and turn on the sales trainings.
Yeah.
Because that's what you need.
Yes.
Did you do it?
No. But I'm going to.
Oh, my God.
Well, I didn't listen to that one yet. But I did listen to, I like David Nagel, so I did listen to his. Yes, so I'm like, okay, it's not that one, but it's this one. But I wasn't going to, and I was listening to. Remember, I sent you a screenshot. I told you, I texted you. I'm like, Mariah Carey's on.
Yeah, you got in the car and you're like, Mariah Carey's on the radio.
You're like, turn that stuff off.
I swore.
Yeah. So, and then I was gonna keep listening to it, and I gave another excuse of why I was going to continue listening, and I'm like, I gotta change it, and so I did do that, and you're right. But it's that willingness to want to do it, right? It's I have to do it, and then
you did something. You didn't listen to sales training that
But
I
I
spent
did
all this
something.
money on, but you are listening to something to at least get you out of that.
Yes.
Right. And it's a simple little
Yes.
thing. So that's what we were talking about, of like your environment, what you're consuming, what you're surrounding yourself by. Part of that is what you consume, listening, reading, things like that. And you could go and read trash magazines and watch trash TV shows and
Yes.
spend your time on social media and, oh my God, watch the news. Or you could actually make yourself better.
Yeah.
And exercise is the same way. You can do something. You can take some action to actually improve your life. And it is amazing what little steps on that stuff can do. All right, let's go through a few other tips. Can I give you a really stupid one?
Yeah.
Smile. Oh. It's this is one that I've started doing. Like, what a silly game to play with myself. But if I I get in bad moods, and what I've decided is when I get in a bad mood, I just make myself smile, and it's physically impossible to be mad and smile at the same time.
You can't.
Now, this is not like mental health advice. This is not like consult a professional, but also try this.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing to me. Like I was driving back from camping the other day and towing the RV, and I just tried, every other person on the road is an idiot except for me. So I'm just going to smile. And I smiled, and suddenly I'm like in a better mood. So that just smile, just see what happens.
So if you see Adam Williams driving down the road
with a smile, just know I'm raging.
You know he's really mad.
I'm raging inside. Yep. Okay. Another tip, and we referenced this earlier, actually write down the gratitude list.
Yeah.
So Jackie does this every day. I actually think that's too much. I think it becomes routine. I think it loses some of the novelty, but I don't know, once a week. Spend the time to just sit and write the things that you're grateful for.
Yeah.
I am grateful that I get to show up to the studio every Wednesday and everything just works. Like I don't have to set it all up. Thanks, Joel. I'm grateful for Joel.
Yes.
Right. I'm grateful for the fact that the top worked on my car this morning, because when I pulled out of my garage, it was raining. Just silly little things, or big things, right? Mm-hmm. I'm grateful that I live in the greatest country in the world, right? But so expressing gratitude, making the list can help get you out of that rut, because you start to see what happens is when you get in a rut, it's all negative, right? That's when your belt loop gets caught on the doorknob. It's really hard to be positive. It's really hard to be creative. It's really hard to solve problems, and you can shift that lens or reverse that lens if you start making the gratitude list. Another one. Visualize a time where you felt great, where you felt that pride, where you felt that accomplishment, where you felt that admiration, like those moments of, and we talked about this yesterday at our quarterly team meeting, and it's an interview question that we asked now. When was the last time you felt pride? And there's too many people that can't even answer that question. They can't even think of a time where, oh yeah, I did this thing, or I put in this effort and I felt proud of that.
Yeah.
And I assure you, the last time you felt pride is not when you finished watching Breaking Bad.
No.
Right? I haven't watched Breaking Bad, but I did see a list of like the greatest television shows of all time, and that was on there. And what was the one on HBO? The Sopranos. I haven't watched that either.
You haven't watched Sopranos?
Nope.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah, so it's like, I guess, whatever. It's good, but I haven't spent any time on it. But I think spending that time to visualize when you felt great, when you felt proud, when you felt admiration or what success, whatever it is, and just remembering that moment. Like I can put myself in those situations pretty easily. I do the same thing with relaxation.
Yeah.
That's not today's topic, but I can picture myself sitting in a very specific log cabin at a very specific mountain on a river in Pennsylvania, and like what the couch feels like and what the fireplace looks like and smells like and all that stuff. I can put myself in those situations pretty quickly, and visualizing that can really help shift your paradigm a little bit. Another one. This is not a thing to do. This is a thing to stop doing. Stop comparing yourself to other people. It's so easy to feel sorry for yourself when you look at what other people are doing. So like, one, just don't do it. But two, it's a million times worse on social media because only the positive stuff is on social media.
Right. Nobody. Yeah.
And actually, I shared the message I got yesterday from a friend of mine who runs a similar business. And she's like, I love that you share like the ups and downs of the journey.
Yeah.
Like you show the reality of like, it's not all rainbows and butterflies.
No.
I think, was that one of the Rocky movies? I feel like I can hear Sylvester Stallone saying that in my head, but that's it, is like, I try and share the ups and downs. and it's not to show off. It's to show people the reality and give them
it's real.
I know I inspire a lot of people with some of the stuff that I post. I know I also discourage a lot of people, and I know that they're just success shammers out there, but that's a different story, and I don't really care about those people. Although I hope they would change. But I think comparing yourself to others is really a recipe for self-abuse, and it's good and bad. Like, I don't think it's a good tactic to feel better about yourself by looking at someone who's worse off than you.
Right.
Like that's self-abuse too, in a way. So I stop comparing yourself, stop looking at what others are doing or who they are or what they have. That's stop doing that.
Right.
That's going to keep you in
because everybody's meant for different things. We're not all supposed to be at the same levels and doing the same things. It's finding the joy and the pride in where you're at and what you're doing. And if you're not happy with it, then maybe you need to question what you're doing. Like the quote said, question everything around you, because maybe that's not what you're meant to be doing.
Yep. Get out, reverse it, and start stacking wins.
Right.
So that's where I'm at now. Is today's Wednesday. It's the third day of the week, and I crushed my power list Monday and Tuesday, which means I've already won 2 days this week.
Yeah.
Which means if I get my list done today, I've won 3 days this week, which means I've won the week.
Yeah.
Like that 3 out of 5, if we're going Monday to Friday, I've won the week, and it's only Wednesday. You know how great that feels?
Yeah.
You know how good Thursday and Friday are going to be for me just because I've already gotten my list.
Yeah.
I've accomplished what I needed to accomplish this week. Your job is converting right now 3.5 clients per week on average. Imagine if by Wednesday you had 3 done.
Well, it's Wednesday.
Or 4.
That would be great.
Wouldn't you feel
be
great?
Less stressful.
Exactly. You'd feel fantastic.
Yes.
But you let yourself, they're coming eventually.
Yes.
And they'll get there. And by Friday you'll start feeling some urgency because you got to get it done. But what if you said every day, you're just like, let's not focus on the 45 clients that we want to get this quarter. Let's not focus on the 3.5 that we need to get every week. Let's just focus on 1 today.
Yeah.
And then boom, done. Next.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, another one.
Yeah.
And you start stacking those wins and building some momentum. And I'm literally talking to you right now, but I'm also talking to everybody who's listening to this of like, just start stacking those wins.
Yeah.
And here's a secret to getting in a rut. It actually happens about quarterly, every 90 days or so.
I was going to say, you're never not going to find yourself in a rut. It happens.
We get complacent. We get a little stuck. We keep doing those routines, and you need that change of scenery. You need to change the people around you. And I've seen this with a lot of coaching. There are programs out there that, for this exact reason, do quarterly meetings.
Yeah.
And I find, like, when you're in that rut, it's hard to find the opportunity. It's hard to be creative. It's hard to be positive. And one of the benefits of having a coach is they can help you with the blind spots and show you the opportunity and help you with the creativity and help you map out the plan and help you realize it's possible and help create the vision for you. And
well, I think I had told you, even with like work and job, like I didn't want to like plateau somewhere, right? Like I don't want to do the same thing over and over and there not be like another challenge or something bigger. Like I don't.
But you can't do it on your own.
Right.
Right. I mean, that's what I find with some of the coaching clients I work for. Like we map out a plan, and it's usually a simple plan because I'm all about speed and simplicity. And I show you it's possible, or at least make you believe it's possible, and I motivate you. And then I get worried that people are going to like crash their cars in my driveway leaving my house after these days because they're so fired up.
Yeah.
And we've intentionally started doing these. When I do a half day, we try to end by about 2 p.m. at the latest.
Yeah.
Because that still gives you time to go out and keep momentum through the rest of the day and like get things going, right? I've got another meeting later today. It's only an hour with a client because it's a longer term thing. But when we do the VIP days and it's a half a day, we'll go like 10 to 2.
Yeah.
So you can show up rested. We can map out the plan. You'll get the clarity. You'll be inspired, and then you carry that momentum. It's not like get home. Oh, I'm so exhausted, and you go to sleep. It's like no, you're going to go out and you're going to take action that day.
Yeah.
And that's why I think who you surround yourself with and the type of people that you're around makes a huge difference. So, man, we were scrambled, but that was a lot of tips and a lot of action items today for getting out of a rut. So I think the biggest thing is it's all about action. It's all about execution, and it doesn't need to be massive.
Right.
It's whatever you're capable of. Start with that and build the momentum and get that ball rolling.
You have the ability to get out of a rut.
You do have the ability.
Yeah.
Just like I say every week, I believe in you.
Yeah.
You've got the ability to do it. So focus on the positive. Focus on the actions that you can take. Get the power list. Like, get it done. All right. I believe in you. Great show.
Great show.
We'll see you next week.